Yeah.
the jobs.
So let's go to that then, because of course recently there's been uprise in anti-refugee sentiment, right? And actually that's why I also called you for this interview. So recently a petition is out demanding the Rohingyas be sent away from Malaysia, and it has
Yeah.
garnered since Thursday about 195,000 signatures. Why do you think so many people want members of your community removed from Malaysia?
Well, definitely. Yeah, I check it in the morning. I think it's now more than 200,000.
Okay.
It's quite a good number. I think there are a lot of misconception that need to be addressed, and this is where the government and the stakeholders in use should step into address this misconception. And one of the things, Binod, you have to understand that a lot of people blame that, like, if a Rohingya is committing crime or something that a Malaysian don't like, you can't blame an entire community based on one person doing something you don't like, because every society they have bad experiences, negativity, and just because of one person or one group of people, we cannot blame an entire community. And it's quite heartbreaking to see this petition being signed by so many people. But then again, I feel so hopeful that because Malaysia has about 35 million people.
Yes.
So there are people that like refugees, of course. I would like to take someone's name. I have a friend, her name is Yan. She's a Malaysian Chinese. She's a filmmaker, actually. She's based in Taiwan. So when I feel like a lot of Malaysian people hate refugee, but I still have a Malaysian that like me. I still have a Malaysian that don't hate me.
Then again, I mean, and I want to dive deeper into the misconceptions or the stereotypes people have towards your community. Like, for example, in 2023, there was an article published on Newsrate Times where community members from Jalan Senang 3 in Semabo complained of Rohingyas causing discomfort to the locals because of the cleanliness, safety, and social relations concerns. Some of the complaints that were raised were gathering still, wee hours and making noise, not bothered about cleanliness. They also brought up the fact that many of these community, Rohingya community, establish unlicensed sundry shops and convenience stores and madrasas and all that. So, I mean, the community is also has to carry a bit of burden for the stereotypes, right?
Well, I think one of the most important thing here to look is, Binod, if you look in Malaysia, refugees are not allowed to go to school. There is not a single government school that will allow a refugee student to get access to education. We are not allowed to work. We have very limited healthcare. And looking at these things, I don't know. I always say this to people. Imagine you have kept people far away from education. How are you expecting good manner from them? If you would have allowed to them to have access to education, they would understand what is better social norms. So we have to come here to the systems, because refugees, especially the Rohingya people, to the certain area you have mentioned. Well, of course they are. I'm not denying these things not happening. These things are happening again. Because of this one area, we cannot blame the entire community. And also, you talk about having unlicensed shops or businesses.
Yeah.
I think we have to look here. The reason law enforcement officer exists is to look at these things, and people have to survive somehow. If a person doesn't have any choice to feed his family, what is he gonna do? If they imagine refugees would be allowed to work, imagine refugees would be allowed to go to school, you would never see a shop that's unlicensed. Again, I'm not encouraging here to have any refugees or any Rohingya to do those unlicensed business, but again, it's up to the law enforcement to go and take action. The reason law enforcement department exists to look into these issues, and as a general community, we can't use this issue to,
Of course not.
blame an
Of
entire
course not. You can't. Agreed.
community.
But the point of contention here, and that's why I wanted you to share your view on this, because of course we are seeing the news is covering the one side, right? And of course, the most recent example was the Hari Raya Korban issue that happened as well, where the cows were being slaughtered in areas, and then the waste was being dumped into the drainage system and all that. don't you think that things should be avoided to improve the perception of the entire community?
Exactly. I believe that should not happen, but again, at the same time, I also believe that there should be a strict, because you see the Rohingya community itself, as I have mentioned to you, because they have not has access to education, and their entire life they have been under oppress. For example, me, I still have a lot of traumas. There are things I can't forget. I want to forget.
Such as?
And for example, when I was leaving my home, I was about to go out and play with my friends. Suddenly, I heard gun shooting, and one of my neighbor got shot. She's an elderly woman, and I couldn't. Before I go out, I was about to have my lunch. My mom made the lunch ready, and I couldn't have my lunch. I just ran away with them and never got back to home. So my entire life has been under oppression. I have always believed that I deserve to be in one place. We can't even move from one place to another place. So with this long-term oppression and with this sufferance, this changed the people's behavior. So this is why a lot of these people came from this area where they have seen a lot of oppressions, and it has affected them badly, and they cannot even differentiate between right and wrong. And this is where, as a system, as a government, as an NGO, we have to step up and teach these people what's right and wrong. Because we are not doing, they are doing this. These salient issues. And also, Binod, one thing, people have misconception about refugee is that Malaysia has refugee from more than 20 countries. So Rohingya is not the only refugees in Malaysia.
But then it is the largest group.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So if you see everywhere they talk about Rohingya people, they don't talk about other refugees. So the reason they use the Rohingya people to, blame is because definitely they are stateless. They stay in a very poor situations. So that's where I blame the system, because the system have not allowed them to understand between right and wrong. So when I am walking on the road, if I don't know, let's say I'm driving on the road, definitely I'm not allowed to drive because I can't have a license. Imagine I'm driving in the road, and if I'm driving without a driving license, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make accidents.
Yes.
Similarly, because the system does not allow refugee to have access to any sort of learnings, what are they gonna do? And this is the types of thing we can see what happened during Korban. And also, I feel that so a lot of people that live in Selayang are actually not Rohingya. So there are two types of people. There are a lot of refugees from Myanmar, like we have refugees from Rohingya. So we have another called Myanmar Muslim.
Yeah.
So, and we have from Chin, Kaching, all those, right?
Yes. Chin, I think.
Yeah,
Chin,
we have also Kaching. So all those refugees, most of the refugees in Selayang, they are not Rohingya actually. They are Myanmar Muslim. But it doesn't mean I'm saying to generalize a group of people, but I'm still saying overall, I think the system have to step up and let these people learn. Let these people realize what's wrong, what's right, so that they know what to do. Okay.
But again, on that point, and I'm all for that. And I think recently there was also a movement, I think, where the slogan of the movement was "End the refugee life." They want access to healthcare, access to education, which I support. I think everybody should, especially kids. Definitely you need to, right? Otherwise, how are they going to come out of the situation?
Exactly.
But when I was researching for this interview with you, on one hand, I see videos of families struggling to feed the kids.
That's correct.
And that breaks my heart. Because
Exactly.
it breaks, I think, anyone, right?
Exactly.
And you're like, oh man, I wish I can help them and solve their problems and all that, right? But then on the other hand, then you see news reports of certain members of Rohingya community being caught in jungles, people trying to escape the detention centers. Then you hear about murders that have happened. You hear about the Selayang Pasar Borong issues and all that. How do we juggle between which is the true Rohingya and which is not?
Well, again, Binit, you talk about incidents where people fleeing from detention,
Committing crimes and all that.
Committing crimes, and so that's where it comes. First of all, I think, Binod, we have to understand that crime has no ethnicity, crime has no religion. Everybody, people from all walks of ethnicity, people from all different religion they commit crimes, and that's why I said that's why we have laws. So just because a Rohingya have committed crime does not mean that we have to blame an entire community. Every community has different challenges and this weakness, and that's where we have all these different parts of government authorities to handle. And just because you see one person have committed crime, it does not mean we have to blame an entire community.
But did